Hey everyone, welcome to another episode from Ampro Engineering. What we have here is the 1/10 scale FMS Toyota Land Cruiser. This is the FJ40, and it's big. It's a big boy. If you have any other 1/10 scale vehicles in your collection, I would say that the closest approximation would be a TRX4 with a bigger body. I cannot stress how large this body is. I am going to do a wheelbase test later to see what the actual scale is, because this is not 1/10 scale. It's closer to 1/8. With that said, the star of the show here is the body. I obviously wasn't able to unbox it on camera, so there's a video up right here showing us opening the box. And it does come in a beautiful styrofoam storage container, which is fantastic. These things often do come in those cases from FMS. We have a very comprehensive manual. They're quite good at providing a manual that goes over all the functionality of the vehicle. Here's everything remote related, the basic information on the car, and then moving our way toward the rear. Again, there's more information here. But what I wanted to point out are the part numbers with the description, and there's also always an exploded diagram here. So these are oil-filled shocks. Here's our exploded view, which is fantastic. Just to take a look here, let's see what is inside the differential. It appears that it's a simple spool, so there is no option of unlocking that. You'd have to get a replacement set of spider gears for this. I don't know if they're available, but I just did want to look at that real quick. So there's actually a gear reduction directly on the motor, and then that appears to go straight to a transfer case, which is a nice, simple setup. I like that the motor is mounted to the front. Some options for the actual body. You can pull the whole back off, or even the front windshield. If you do want to run this thing topless, you can pull the doors off. These hinges are magnificent. These are just some tiny little metal hinges on the doors, on the hood. There are these small adhesive stickers here on the doors. So if you want to open the door, by pulling on it, you're going to be met with a door that doesn't open. This is ridiculous. You've actually got to turn the knob or the handle downward, and now the door. I mean, check this out. Look at this. Look at that. That's insane. Interior is fantastic. You've got a nice, the whole thing is this mustard color, which I think is pretty appropriate for this vehicle. That's how it would be. The seats are this rubber. Is it just a cap? No, it's actually not a cap. The whole thing's, it kind of is a cap. It's a nice rubbery seat, so you can put a very large figure in there. The detail on the inside is insanity. It truly is a thing of beauty in there. I'm assuming, of course, that the steering wheel spins. It looks like it's mounted upside down. So you've got your shifter, you've got your low range shifter, I believe, right there. Then you've got a 3-pedal setup, which is fantastic. It would be a manual transmission. Fuel filler, side markers with some holes in there so you can illuminate them, of course. Let's close the door again. I admit, you'd want to push that down, close the door, tilt up. At the rear, it's kind of the same story. We want to peel off all of these here, of course, and it left the crap on there. I knew it was going to do that. With all that removed, we should be able to lift the back. Open the doors. Yep. Some transportation foam in there, I see. These seats, do they do anything? Wow, is that actual? I think that's actual fabric right there. Holy cow. So these can actually tilt up for whatever storage. That's bloody cool. That is so freaking cool. That is really ridiculous that this is able to do that. Honestly, I don't know that there's any manufacturer that goes to this detail at this price point. Holy cow. All right, let's close this back up again. You got to close it like that, then that, and we are closed-ish, kind of. Yes. All right. The back bumper here, everything's plastic. Lenses molded in there. Yeah, it's all plastic. The detail's great, but it's all fairly flexible. Might as well look at the front while we're here. And again, look at that detail. That's just wicked. The downside is if you do want to do a color change on this vehicle, that's going to be a lot of disassembly. I just saw this. The crank does in fact work. The window, as you can see, is rigid, but for a minute there, I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I'm totally okay with this not having an engine in here because I think this is where the business gets done. So receiver, so you've got your motor, your gear reduction gearbox, steering servo at the front, steering wheel servo there, and then your ESC. I've got a couple of these. I forget what the brand is, but they're pretty solid units. The battery should fit a standard 2S. Does it fit a standard 2S? What kind of battery does this fit? Okay, so I was thinking I was doing something wrong. I mean, this is a standard 2S hard pack LiPo. I've got this much thinner one, and yeah, that'll probably fit. Okay, that fits, but now what? I mean, there's no strap. Why isn't there a strap? Okay, that's confusing. These are neat too. I believe these can be removed. Yeah, so you can remove these, turn them the other way around. I'm not going to push it all the way down, but then when you close the hood, it looks like it's actually latching the hood down. It's not, but just cosmetically, it can be reversed, which is a very neat little detail. Okay, here are all the additional parts for the vehicle. I was actually watching Tom Lee's video because I couldn't figure out what the heck to do with the battery. And I figured out, well, somebody else has probably reviewed it already. And one thing that he mentioned about the mirror, which I thought was kind of weird, was that, I'm going to take it out here. So you can see how this mirror mount works, right? This is going to go right there. Okay, cool, not a problem, right? Except that you need to put a screw in to the top. Okay, how does one do that? The bottom's fine. Weird. I don't know, weird. The last thing I want to look at this car in terms of cosmetics is the wheels. Okay, look. They've gone through a remarkable amount of work on this vehicle. And then they've said, and I feel like this is how it works in reality as well, where somebody's going to do a full restoration, nut and bolt on their FJ, and then they're going to go bust out the JC Whitney catalog and buy these $39.95, whatever the heck, aluminum styled garbage. God, these are horrible. Oh my God. Oh, the tires. You know, the tires are a bit on the stiff side, but I feel like if this is heavy, so a softer tire would definitely go flat. But God, those are just awful. I feel like I have to wash my eyes. Absolute travesty of a wheel. I don't know what they were thinking. Let's move on because I don't want to look at that anymore. I'd like to look under the vehicle. So let's tip you over. In my mind, this is how FMS works. They have their ultra scale model line and then they have their ultra functional model line. And I think this is more on the scale side. In terms of the chassis, it's really nothing to write home about. You've got a standard solid rear axle, non-portal, metal 4-link. Looks fine. You know, very little play, which actually feels, the drive shaft feels really nice. We've got a 4-link at the rear, 4-link at the front. Wait. Hang on a second. What is that? The shirt? Hang on. What the hell is that? Is that a pan? Wait. Why is there a panhard bar? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4-link and a panhard. I'm not an off-road guy, so maybe that's common. I thought that you'd have a panhard bar if you didn't have a 4-link, you had a 3-link. Okay, a little weird. I don't want to fault FMS. I'm not, into the whole hardcore off-roading, so I don't know. But that just seems odd. I've never seen that before. Frame rails feel like they're well made. They are steel. They're steel. We have leftovers from a front leaf spring perch right there. So this is probably the same chassis that they use elsewhere. I did just review the FCX10 chassis and night and day. I mean, that's a significantly more finished product than this. But again, this is a simple chassis for a gorgeous body. If they had this body on that FCX chassis, the price would be through the roof, although it would be cool to see. I can totally understand why they've gone this path. Remote takes 4 AA batteries. Initial impressions, I like these molded in textures. It definitely adds a little bit of class to the product. It shows that it's not cheap. I otherwise hate whatever this is. This upsets me greatly. I think it's hideous, but it's not about the cosmetics. It's about the functionality. So let's open this up. This is effectively a larger version of their smaller, where is it? This one here. It has, does it have the same amount of right behind? It's really only separated the steering trim and the steering dual rate instead of combining them here. But I don't like this whole concept of having a big remote for a big car. I'd rather have a small remote because I like tiny remotes. I'm probably the minority here, so we'll ignore me. Let's fire you up. Okay, that's powered up. The power switch is here. What do we have? That's all the steering. Hang on. Some pretty ample steering. I did mention that these are oil-filled shocks, and what I want to mention is if there's oil in these shocks, it's pretty much water. It's very softly sprung. It needs thicker oil, but I do like how floppy the thing is. I think it'll look really cool on the trail, but as long as you don't look directly at these because they'll fry your eyes if you stare at them too much. So we're going to kind of hide them with this lava lamp. There we go. Headlights, those are on, but likely they are attached to something else. All right, the lights were plugged directly into channel 3, and without some sort of a remote switch, you know, that doesn't do anything. All it was doing was pulling the power, not anything switched. You actually can get remote switches that will work. Let's say you plug into channel 4, so you can turn the headlights on or off. To me, that's excessive for just headlights. There are some very inexpensive kits that you can buy on eBay that come with headlights, corner markers for the front and the rear, and taillights, and that could be a very viable option there. There's a lot of work that can be done here to actually illuminate the hell out of this thing here, which would be kind of neat. Very smooth. Wow, that sounds really good. So before we take the big one for a drive, just a little comparison, okay? This is the WPL C34, I think. This is the 34, I believe. And that's the FMS. And that's a considerable size difference. If I match the rear bumpers up, this is nearly twice the size. I believe this is 1/12 scale. So what we're looking at here is one chunky vehicle. There we go. We can drag it along. Let's take it for a spin. You got it.
Could I have that cup?
Whoa, that was a bit bouncy, huh? Whoa, there you go. Yeah, go over that log. Whoa.
That's a tick.
Stick. I want to show you how it does this weird stop thing. So we're going to take our finger off the throttle, and that's just what it does. Right. All right. Oh, God. There we go. Sorry, this thing is just ginormous. After some good driving, I have come to a conclusion that this thing is extremely fun to drive on a trail. Its ridiculous bulk, and trust me, there's a lot of it. It just seems to, I don't know how to explain it. It just kind of dives into the terrain, if that helps. This is not a rock crawler. If you're looking for a rock crawler, you're going to need to do some work to this thing here. It is absolutely a fabulous trail truck. Chassis-wise, quite simplistic, but operational. I at no point felt that the vehicle needed more speed or more torque. It seemed to be rather balanced. As you can tell, I had to do away with, God, whatever those are, just horrible things. And I went ahead and made these wheels. There'll be a video coming up shortly on how to actually 3D print and detail these wheels coming soon. It isn't all sunshine and rainbows here. There are some flaws. Number one, that speed control is catastrophic. I mean, the drag brake, by the time you hit, let's see here, as you decelerate, I never found a point where the vehicle would not jump into its brake mode. Even probably around the 25% mark before you disengage, it just locks up. I've talked to a lot of people, and this is simply the way it is. And it's highly unfortunate because this radio, which is made by FlySky, if we look at a variation of it that came with the Element Enduro 12 and we pop this sucker open, we can see dip switches here that could be easily used to control drag brake. Now, functions like this require corresponding functionality on the vehicle. It's not just going to work through the radio. But obviously, this is an option, and you can see that there's data on how to set the drag brake. And I feel that if FMS included this style of radio, again, bearing in mind that they need to make sure that that there is electronics available to do that on the vehicle, this would be a monumental improvement. Because in terms of the motor's temperature, the ESC's temperature, it all performed beautifully. There was no glitching, there was no weirdness, the steering servo was fine. It's just that drag brake. Oh my gosh, it's almost unusable. Secondly, take a look at the front and the rear axles. So in one of Make It RC's videos, he mentioned that there was no grease in his car. There is something on these gears, likely from the manufacturing process where these are manufactured and then coated in something to prevent any kind of oxidation. I do not believe that that is any grease at all. That's pretty disappointing given FMS's history of utterly reliable vehicles. These things need to come greased. I mean, the fact that there's no grease whatsoever, I don't know if that's an anomaly here. I don't think it is. I don't know how the transfer case is either, but I'm kind of believing that it's like the front and rear axles. So the question is, of course, do you want one? Well, here is the deal. I need you to separate performance from scale for a moment here. What we're looking at here is a radio-controlled model. It has insane details. It's going to be extremely hard to look at a model with details like this for the bloody price point. This thing costs nothing with respect to the details that you're going to get from this truck. It's just madness. With that said, most of what you're paying for is this shiny bit on top. Again, the chassis, while functional, is extremely rudimentary, and I was assuming it was going to need a lot more work to get it to do what I wanted it to, but save for the ESC, I'm extremely happy with this vehicle. If you are looking for a rock-solid, ready-to-detail, weather, customized trail truck, with minimal work getting started, this is your guy. Even I thought the shocks were fine. Yeah, they're a little bit floppy, but it kind of just felt good like that on the trail. If you're looking for high-end, top-of-the-line performance, but you like the cosmetics of this vehicle, then yeah, it's going to take some work to swap the body onto another vehicle. But again, at the price point, it's still fantastic even if you just want the body. Please note that the body is very, very heavy. So if you're going to leave the whole back of the vehicle on, because again, this does come off if you want to run topless. If you do want to leave the back on, expect this thing to be extraordinarily top heavy. But with that said, I'm not a fan really of FJs in general, and I have genuinely fallen in love for this thing here. I was kind of contemplating what to do with it when I was done with the video, and now, yeah, it's not going anywhere. It's going to get lots of detail work, a lot more customization, especially now that we have these fabulous wheels. I think we're going to see a lot more of this vehicle. My friends, thank you all so much for joining me in this video. It's been a lot of fun, and we've got some more FMS vehicles on the way, as well as a number of other projects. For example, here is my beloved Project Vanicado. Now, my God, just in comparison, remember that this body is a genuine vintage lunchbox body. Please note, okay, I know you're not going to believe me. You're going to think, oh no, that's some tiny little Tamtec. No, this is a Tamiya lunchbox body. My friends, we'll see you next time.